You think fairness is noble. That's why you're losing. The people who convinced you that playing fair was the right move, they benefit from your obedience. They taught you a game where they always win, and you always wait your turn. And while you sit there waiting for the world to reward your goodness, someone else is taking what you deserve. Stop scrolling. What you're about to hear will make you uncomfortable, but discomfort is the price of awareness. And once you see this, you can't unsee it. Let me ask you something. When was the last time fairness actually protected you? When did being the good person in the room get you the promotion, the respect, or the relationship you wanted? I'll wait. See, you were raised to believe that kindness, patience, and fairness would eventually pay off. That the universe keeps score. That good things come to those who wait. But here's the truth nobody wants you to know. The world doesn't reward fairness. It rewards position. And weak people cling to fairness because they have no other weapon. This isn't motivation. This is observation. And it comes straight from Machiavelli's The Prince, combined with what modern psychology has confirmed about power, perception, and human behavior. You're about to learn 5 brutal principles that will completely rewire how you see respect, control, and why some people rise while others stay stuck. If you've ever felt overlooked, underestimated, or used, this is why. And this is how it ends. Let's start with the most dangerous truth of all. Fairness is a weapon of the powerless. Here's what I mean. When someone demands fairness, what they're really saying is this: I can't compete on strength, so I need the rules to protect me. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He said it's better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Why? Because love is conditional. Respect based on fear, and position on strength, that's permanent. And fairness is what you appeal to when you have nothing else. Think about it. The employee who talks about fairness is never the top performer. The person screaming about what's fair in a relationship is usually the one with less power. The politician shouting about equality, they're rallying the weak to gain control. Fairness is the language of those who can't dominate. And listen carefully to this part, because this is where most people destroy themselves. The moment you start demanding fairness, you've told everyone in the room exactly where you stand, at the bottom. Now, let me show you what happens in the real world. 2 people walk into a meeting. One talks about what's fair. The other takes control of the conversation, sets the frame, and dictates the outcome. Guess who walks out with respect? Guess who walks out with resentment and empty promises? You already know. Machiavelli warned us, men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. Translation: people don't care about your intentions. They care about what they see. And what they see when you beg for fairness is weakness. So here's the rule. Stop appealing to fairness. Start building position. Position is what makes people listen. Position is what creates respect. Fairness is what you demand when you have neither. And here's the trap nobody sees. The more you talk about fairness, the less power you actually have. It's a signal, a confession, and the people in control, they hear it loud and clear. It's go deeper. Predictability is suicide. This is principle number 2, and it's one of the most misunderstood concepts in human psychology. Most people think consistency is a virtue. Show up the same way every day. Be reliable. Be the nice guy, the dependable one, the one who never rocks the boat. And you know what happens? You become furniture, invisible, taken for granted. Because the moment people can predict you, they stop respecting you. Machiavelli said this beautifully: a prince must be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. You need both. Kindness without the capacity for ruthlessness is not virtue. It's weakness with good marketing. And people don't respect what they can fully predict. Think about the relationships in your life. The person you respect most, I guarantee you, they have an edge. Something unpredictable. You don't know exactly how they'll respond. That uncertainty creates respect. The person you take for granted, you know exactly what they'll do every single time. Here's the thing though, predictability makes you safe to exploit. If your boss knows you'll never push back, you'll never get the raise. If your partner knows you'll never leave, they'll never prioritize you. If your friends know you'll always say yes, they'll never value your time. You've trained them, not with words, with patterns. And patterns, once established, are incredibly hard to break. So what does this actually mean for you? You need to become selectively unpredictable, not chaotic, not unstable, strategic. Let me break that down. Sometimes you're generous. Sometimes you're unavailable. Sometimes you're warm. Sometimes you're cold. Not because you're playing games, but because you refuse to be a guarantee. The person who is always available has no value. Scarcity creates worth. Uncertainty creates respect. And the moment people realize they can't fully predict you, they start paying attention. Most people miss this completely. Here's a real-life example. You have a coworker who always helps everyone, always stays late, always says yes. One day, they need help. Guess what happens? Crickets. Nobody shows up. Why? Because their kindness became expected. It lost its value. Now imagine a different person. Someone who helps strategically. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. When they do help, it feels like a gift. When they don't, you understand they have boundaries. Who do you respect more? Exactly. So here's your command. Stop being a constant. Become a variable. And watch how quickly people start treating you differently. Now, let's talk about the most painful truth of all. Good people finish last because they refuse to see the game. Principle number 3. And this is where good people lose everything. You've been taught that if you're just kind enough, honest enough, fair enough, the world will recognize your value. But here's what actually happens. You get used. You get overlooked. You get replaced by someone who understood what you refused to see. Life is not a moral exam. It's a strategic game. And the people winning, they're not better people. They're better players. Machiavelli was brutally clear about this. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. You need both skill sets. Morality without strategy is just martyrdom with extra steps. And nobody remembers martyrs. They remember victors. Think about the last time someone took credit for your work. The last time you were passed over for someone less qualified. The last time you were manipulated into saying yes when you wanted to say no. That wasn't bad luck. That was strategy. Their strategy against your naivety. Listen closely to this part. The moment you stop playing the game because you think it's wrong, you don't stop the game, you just lose it. The game continues, with or without your participation. And while you're sitting there being principled and fair, someone else is taking the position you thought you deserved. Not because they're smarter, because they understood the rules, and you refuse to. So what does this actually mean for you? It means this. You can be good and strategic at the same time. Morality is not the problem. Weakness disguised as morality is. Here's the trap. You confuse kindness with weakness, generosity with doormat behavior, fairness with self-sabotage. Real power, real respect, it comes from being kind when you choose to be, not because you're afraid of conflict. Not because you need approval, but because you're operating from a position of strength. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He didn't say be cruel. He said be capable of cruelty when necessary. That's the difference. That's the line between strength and weakness. And that's exactly what weak people refuse to cross. Let me give you a real example. 2 managers. One is loved by everyone, always understanding, never pushes back, avoids conflict. The other is respected, sometimes warm, sometimes firm, sets boundaries, makes hard decisions. Guess who gets promoted? Guess whose team actually performs better? You already know. So here's the rule. Stop choosing to be harmless and start choosing to be dangerous but disciplined. People don't respect saints. They respect strength under control. Think about it. Now here's where it gets dangerous. Respect is not given, it's taken. Principle number 4. And this might be the hardest thing you'll hear today. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to hand you respect because you've been patient, because you've been good, because you've been fair. Respect is not a reward for obedience. It's a reaction to presence, to boundaries, to the refusal to be diminished. And if you're waiting for permission to be powerful, you've already lost. Machiavelli said it best. Men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that one who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. Translation: people will use you as long as you let them. And the moment you stop letting them, everything changes. Not because they suddenly became better people, but because you stopped being an easy target. See, here's the thing. Respect doesn't come from being nice. It comes from being necessary, from being someone who cannot be replaced, ignored, or taken for granted. And that doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. Think about the people you respect most in your life. I bet they have one thing in common. They don't tolerate disrespect. They don't beg for attention. They don't explain themselves endlessly hoping you'll understand. They simply exist in their power, and you adjust to it. That's not arrogance. That's self-respect. And it's magnetic. Now compare that to the people you take for granted. I bet they're always available, always explaining, always trying to prove their worth. And the more they try, the less you value them. Harsh? Maybe. True? Absolutely. So, what does this actually mean for you? It means you need to stop performing for validation. Stop explaining your value to people who are determined not to see it. Stop waiting for the world to recognize you. Start recognizing yourself, and then move accordingly. Respect is not a gift. It's a boundary. It's what happens when you refuse to accept anything less. Most people fail right here. They think respect is something you earn by being good enough. But here's the truth. You earn respect by being unavailable to disrespect. Simple. Here's a real-life example. Someone disrespects you in a meeting. You have two options. Explain why that's not okay and hope they understand. Or respond with silence, withdraw your energy, and let them feel the consequences of their behavior. Which one works? The second, every time. Because people don't change based on your explanations. They change based on what they lose. So here's your command. Stop explaining. Start enforcing. And watch how quickly people learn where the line is. Now, let's bring this all together. The final principle. Power rewards control, not emotion. Principle number 5. And this is the line between survivors and victims. Weak people react. Strong people respond. Weak people are controlled by their emotions. Strong people use emotions as data. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He said, "Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great." Translation: emotion without discipline is just noise. Power comes from control, from the ability to stay calm when others panic, to stay silent when others overshare, to move strategically when others move impulsively. Here's what happens in the real world. Two people get disrespected. One explodes, yells, defends, explains. The other goes quiet, observes, plans, moves. Guess who wins the long game? Guess who people fear? Emotion is not the problem. Uncontrolled emotion is. And the moment people realize they can manipulate your emotions, they own you. Every reaction you give is information. Every emotional outburst is a weakness they can exploit. And weak people, they give it all away for free. Think about it. I mean, really think about it. So what does this mean for you? It means this. Stop reacting to everything. Start responding to what matters. Machiavelli said it perfectly. Never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception. Strategy beats emotion every single time, and the people who control their emotions They control the room. They control the outcome. They control the game. So here's the rule. Silence is more powerful than defense. Observation is more valuable than reaction. And patience, real strategic patience, is the ultimate weapon. Most people never learn this. Let me give you one final example. Someone tries to provoke you, insults you, pushes your buttons. Weak response? Defend yourself. Prove them wrong. Get emotional. Strong response? Smile. Say nothing. Let them wonder. Let them spiral. And then, when the time is right, when you have position, you move. Not out of anger, out of strategy. That's power. That's control. And that's what separates people who survive from people who dominate. Now, you understand the game. Fairness is a trap for the weak. Predictability is suicide. Goodness without strategy is exploitation waiting to happen. Respect is not given, it's commanded. And power rewards those who control themselves, not those who react to everything. From this point forward, ignorance is no longer an excuse. You've seen it, you know it. And what you do with this knowledge will determine everything. You can go back to waiting for fairness, or you can start building position. You can keep being predictable, or you can become strategically unpredictable. You can stay the good person who gets used, or you can become the good person who can't be touched. Machiavelli wasn't teaching cruelty. He was teaching survival, and survival in a world that rewards strength, not intentions, requires you to see things as they are, not as you wish they were. So here's my question for you. Are you ready to stop losing? Are you ready to stop being the person everyone takes for granted? If this made you uncomfortable, good. It means you're waking up. Type, "I see the game now" in the comments. Not for me, for yourself. Because the moment you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's when everything changes.